So Mark Anderson.
Najati. Emerzade.
That's me.
So you like tango?
I love tango, man. It's
Yeah.
it's just the I think there's so much connection between the musical style of tango and the music that I grew up with, such as
really?
the passion, the drama,
Are the Mediterranean people passionate?
Well, listen, like not so much of Mediterranean, but definitely like Greek and Turkish.
It's just the Emerzade.
Yeah, maybe it's just me, a very dramatic person, as you know.
Yeah,
passionate.
Yeah. So, do you remember when you first heard tango, or what your first memory of hearing tango is? Was it Piazzolla or?
It was Piazzolla. It was Piazzolla. Okay. I think it was the album where Assad Brothers played with Yo-Yo Ma that I really fell in love with. The whole album.
I remember you telling me about that one.
And then that was the one of this probably the music that we used to listen to when we were meeting up in my apartment in San Francisco. You remember? I used to put it in the background.
That and the Assad's Piazzolla album that they did without Yo-Yo Ma.
Exactly. So right. I heard that album with Yo-Yo Ma, and then I started exploring other albums. And of course, Sergio Assad was in school that we studied at, so I had that going through all of his albums, getting to know all of his music. And Tango, Bandoneon was the song that we listened to, and we were like, can we beat them? Can we do this? Yeah. And of course, we can't beat them, but we did. And
you know what? I always thought I hated the accordion until I heard the bandoneon and tango, and I was like, whoa. This isn't just, it ain't just for polka, like exactly. No offense to polka, but like tango hit me here.
Yeah.
And
it really
all
does.
of a sudden I love the sound of that instrument. Yeah.
So
but one of the things you mentioned was like the history of it, and I think with tango and with choro, like one of the things I really like is sort of being able to dive back into a style of music a lot. So I remember like with those Piazzolla, the pieces that the Assads did, Suite Troileana, Bandoneon, Whiskey, Zita. With those pieces, I remember one of the most fun things, and when we were in grad school 10 years ago, it wasn't even that long ago, but you think like accessibility to music on the internet was not what it is today. And I remember trying to find recordings of Piazzolla playing Suite Troileana, and it was so hard to find. I couldn't, like, the records aren't in print anymore. They never put it on CD because that album was considered like a failure. Because it was this like, he did it with like a rock band. It was like this kind of progressive like tango rock hybrid thing. From like the early 70s, and so like they never put it on CD. The album's not in print anymore. And finally I found some like website, I don't remember where I was able to just download the MP3s of it. And I remember when I first was able to hear it, it was just this like amazing experience, because I had to go through all this effort to find it, and we'd been obsessing over those Assad recordings, and then to hear Piazzolla play them, and I guess it was a weird album for him to do, but like hearing the sounds of that like cheesy rock band was so cool. Like it was so fun to uncover that and discover it. And then play those pieces.
I know there's so much that the whole evolution, it really interests me. And what Piazzolla did, he tried to actually do what we do right now also as a duo. We're trying to
No. He did what we're trying to do. He didn't try to do it. He was successful. We're still trying.
We are still trying. But he did brought that to, he brought the new age, Duo Tango, right? And he created that concept where it worked. It worked, and it was beautiful. He did this nostalgic feeling, like you were mentioning for the style of choro, right? It's just I don't know. For me, also, it's so beautiful to know that history and how he, kept that history there, but also brought in all these new instruments. So and created his little, magic band.
Yeah, no, and it was fun, like learning about kind of the history of his development, and also, like, it was a good reminder to sort of be patient, because I feel like when I was reading like his memoir, and maybe it was recency bias for him, but writing about, or actually no, he didn't write it, sorry, it was written by a different author, but somebody who knew him really well. But it had this feeling that like his last quintet that he played with for the last however many years of his life, that was like sort of what he'd been striving for his whole career, and it took him 40, 50 years to get there. So yeah, like, you can be patient, and you can go through, you can have that failure, your crossover album with the rock band, or whatever you want to try. You got to go through those things, right? Because it's part of your development. And even if at the time it was viewed as a failure, I loved going back and discovering that, because like it was a cool thing. And and honestly, I mean, again, Choro, like, it was the same thing, trying to discover all that music back in grad school. Like, we had the music from Nazareth that Sergio arranged, and then we were playing those Pichinguinha arrangements that Roland Deans made, and trying to discover those, like Pichinguinha, again, like, his old recordings are really hard to find, and the music just wasn't as accessible then, and it was the same thing. I remember finding like some websites in Brazil, and everything on the websites in Portuguese, and I think I'm ordering this CD and I'm not sure, and it's being, because I can't read what I'm doing, but I'm paying the money and hoping that someday that CD will show up, and and then again, like, you get it, and you've gone through all this effort to hear that music, and it makes it like that much more exciting to then hear, like, oh, this is what Pichinguinha sounded like, and then learning about like Jacob do Bandolim and these other players, and those songs, man, the Niatali suite, the Sweet Retratos songs, I mean, those have been played by pretty much every single guitar duo, so you get to hear all them play it. But then I remember finding, who was it? It was Rafael Rebelo and some accordion player. And those Brazilian musicians, like, it cracks me up. They all have like their name and their instrument. So Jacob do Bandolim, and you've got Dino Seichi Cordas playing the 7-string guitar. And I can't remember the name of the accordion player that Rafael Rebelo played with, but his name was, like,
something guitars.
Accordion. Yeah, exactly. But like, hearing those pieces in a different context, and with the Choro, like, you get these musicians where it's more like jazz, and they all kind of improvise in their own ways on it. So like, hearing what Sergio did versus what Jacob do Bandolim did versus what Rafael Rebelo did,
and all those additions that they add, it's just every recording I hear is some other excitement that I get out of them. And I remember when we were recording, we were trying to add our little touch to it, and that was one of the most fun I had, playing those pieces, even though, like you said, it was performed by many guitar duos. But it was like such a joy. Every time I hear it back, also I remember that last little touch, because I will hear someone else's recording and my mind is there,
and they don't do it
and then we did like some goofy stuff in there, and that's the part of it. Like, I feel like there's a lot of I don't know, it sounds very goofy and jokey, in a way. I just, it gives you such a good feel. It's like feel good, genre.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. No, and I mean, that's what I was talking about. I think that's part of why, like, Choro really like captured my heart. Is like, it's, that song Lamentos that I played. It's a sad song. I didn't get to the middle section of it in that short little clip, but it's, it's got this kind of minor key with this descending bass line. Yeah, exactly. And so it's a lament, but then you've got that beginning, which is kind of cheerful, and it ends the same way. And so it gives me this feeling of like, I'm remembering this, I've got this memory of this like bad thing I went through, but like I came out of it, and it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
There's that optimism there, and I think I told you this, but like it makes me think back. You know, there's this experience when I was a kid, and I think it was in Boy or Cub Scouts or whatever. I don't know if they have that in Cyprus, but Cub Scouts here in the U.S. like. And our scout leader was telling us when we were, I don't know, 5 years old or something, like about stranger danger and warning us like to not get kidnapped and raped or something.
Yeah.
And all the kids are going home crying to their parents. And so my dad gets a phone call from one of the other kids' dads saying, you know, is Mark okay? You know, and telling him about what happened. And my dad talks to me, he's like, you know, how are you doing, Mark? And it's like, oh, I'm okay. He's like, okay, well, you know, did you hear any scary stories lately? And I was like, oh yeah, our scout leader told us this. He's like, well, how do you feel about that? And I told him, well, I just think happy thoughts. So, you know, it's like, it's that optimism, that cheerfulness, you know.
Stranger danger, but everything's going to be okay.
And I find that in Choro. It's going to, yeah, you know, maybe it won't be okay, but, you know, I'm going to remain optimistic about it.
That's great, man. I mean, for people that doesn't know us well, they can think.
Did I just open up too much?
No. They can, this is perfect. They can think of, you know, when they're listening to Choro, that's Mark Anderson. When they're listening to Tango, that's Nejati Emirzad. So
that's
they can really feel the connection there between us also. I am that aggressive, passionate one, even in the duo when we play, and you're like, man, everything's gonna be okay, just listen to this, and you have some drama, but you're like, actually it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Anyway,
all right,
that's it. That's Tango and
Choro.
It.
Good talk.
Good talk.
Choro, Tango. Peace out.